everybody. It's Doctrine and Devotion, the podcast exploring Christian faith and practice from a Reformed Baptist perspective. My name is Joe Thorne. I'm the lead pastor of Redeemer Fellowship in St. Charles, Illinois.
And I'm Jimmy Fowler, executive pastor at Redeemer Fellowship.
You know what I've noticed at the gym?
What have you noticed?
Here's what I've noticed.
What you've noticed?
So, first of all, a lot of ripped guys and girls there. A lot of people that are like...
A lot of people that are serious about fitness.
I'm always more impressed with the girls who build up muscle mass on their arms because it's harder for them, typically, right, to build up muscle mass on their arms. And but I'm really careful. I don't want to stare. I don't want to look like I'm a creepy gawker. So you
just take your phone out and just leave it?
No. I don't take any pictures.
Videos. So you put
your
phone
no videos.
out?
No live streaming, nothing like that. But so I see all these people, and they all put me to shame, men and women, because like so many of them, a lot of them look like me too. But there's people really good shape, and some older people really good shape. But here's where I find my win. Here's where I find my victory. When I'm on the treadmill, and they're on the treadmill, and they get off before I do, victory.
That's pretty good.
Doesn't matter if they've been on it for an hour, and I came up at the 50-minute mark, and I've been doing it for 10 minutes, and when they hit the hour mark, they get off, I still feel like I beat them because they quit before I quit. That's what
even though they started ahead of you.
Yeah, no, same thing. It's a win. I still feel like, that's right, loser. Go shower, you baby. You can't handle it. And then I keep going. Yeah.
So I do the Apple Fitness thing, right? Like I got the thing,
Mm-hmm.
And so my winning was, I was like, I'm gonna do the treadmill stuff, and there's one trainer, she's pregnant, and so I'm like, I'll be able to keep up.
Yeah, pregnant lady
Can't keep up.
No.
Oh gosh, no.
No, I've seen pregnant ladies.
I'm like, I gotta put this incline down. What is going on? Incline down, speed. I'm like, nah.
I've seen them do CrossFit, deep into their pregnancy.
You could do anything for 12 minutes. Not me.
12 minutes is a long time. Depends on what you're doing. I can sit on the can for 12 minutes.
Oh, can you?
Easily.
So massive respect. Respect.
Pregnant ladies they got like a super strength anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a fair. That's
that prego strength.
You're fighting two people, actually. You're competing against two people in that situation.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, you got two. You're going against two people.
Oh, that's amazing.
So you got to factor that in. It's not a fair. That's not a fair fight.
But I'm like the size of 3. So it's like
but it's all on you. She's got a baby carrying half of, or at least a part of the
what?
struggle. Yeah, she's got a baby in there. I'm just saying, you got to think it through. You're going up against 2, so it's not exactly a fair competition.
Yep.
You're fighting a team. That's what it is.
Massive respect. Yeah. They got to tap in, tap out.
I don't know how it works. I just know it's not fair. How the women involved.
So I was definitely I finished that workout. She was like, "How'd you work?" I'm like, "I lost. I lost. I was so demoralized. It's just the arrogance. My arrogance.
Yeah, that's all right. That's why you got to adopt my approach.
Start halfway through.
Start at the end of their set, and then
start at the end of the set. They go
their routine or whatever. I forgot my headphones the other day. I couldn't find them, which is it's boring. Doing the cardio stuff and or doing any of it really. I find the whole thing really tedious and awful. But I forgot mine. So all I was left with was like CNN and Fox News without sound up on the screens in front of me. Yeah, it was pretty brutal.
Yeah, that would be brutal.
You know what I'm doing?
What are you
doing? This is really fun.
All
Growing up, I used to listen to albums. So listen to music.
Okay.
And I would get the liner notes out and I would read the lyrics. So all through, especially high school, I would lay on my bed, my water bed. I would lay on my water bed and put on my black lights, and I would put on an album.
Lava lamp?
Nope, never had a lava lamp. No.
Your lava lamp was on?
Never had a lava lamp.
Okay. Anyways,
did not.
Your lamp of lava.
Did not. And I wanted a lava lamp, but I never had one. So I would lay down and I would just...
So wait a second. What? They gave you albums. They gave you a waterbed.
First of all, nobody gave me anything. I paid for everything. I worked full time.
You bought your own waterbed.
No, they bought that.
Okay. So they gave you a waterbed.
Yeah, they gave me
They gave you the water to go in.
Yeah.
And then blacklight you bought.
I bought, yeah.
From the money they gave you allowance?
No. I worked full time junior year and senior year of high school.
That's right. You worked over at Suburban Tire?
I did.
Yeah, see? I know your origin story.
So I would read like a whole King Diamond album or a Metallica album, Iron Maiden, whatever. And I really used to enjoy that, right? And I feel like I'm too busy to just sit down and enjoy a whole album, which isn't true, but I just feel that way. But now what I've been doing is I'll get on the treadmill and I've got lots of time, and I bring up my iTunes, and I can do the lyrics, how it pops up, and it kind of goes with the. Yeah, I've been really enjoying it. That's been what I've been doing on the treadmill. Instead of like watching something on the TV or on my phone, I listen to albums and I go through the lyrics, and it's been really fun. Mm-hmm.
I watch Martin
Lawrence Martin.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's fun.
I watch. I going through.
And if you
the entire
laugh,
series.
it ups your heart rate even more.
That's
like a
right.
hill.
It's
like
a
sprint.
I laugh a lot in that show. I love it.
What's the girl's name?
Gina.
I love that you know.
Of course, I
couldn't tell you.
Well, I've been watching it.
Yeah.
Gina, Pam, Tommy.
Yeah.
Love it.
All you guys.
Love it. Shanae.
All you guys with your shows.
I love it. I love it.
I watch shows like Friends and Seinfeld. Yeah, a little different.
Oh, growing up?
No.
Oh, okay. I was saying,
yeah.
In our house, it was like
Martin. Of course.
In Living
Good Times.
In Living Color?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Of course. Wait a second.
Wait, what? I watch Three's Company. That's what I watch.
So wait.
What do you mean? I don't know what you mean. What do you mean? I get why you would watch that, and I watch Three's Company. I would watch that kind of stuff. MASH, and you would watch In Living Color.
In Living Color.
Yeah. A little more diverse.
Yeah, well,
it's a little more inclusive. I watched really white shows growing up. Is what I'm saying. I watched really white TV. No, I actually. What's Happening? I actually used to watch What's Happening. Did you ever watch with rerun?
Yeah. What's Happening? But I
used to love that show. I used to watch it all the time.
No, we would be watching In Living Color.
You know what I used to watch when I was a kid?
Do you remember Living Single?
Yeah, I actually did watch that. That was good. That was spin off the Cosby Show.
Yeah,
that was good.
Yeah, it was good.
What I used to like? Was it called Living? Is that the right one?
With Queen Latifah.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
this is a college. They're all in college, right? Living Single? No, I'm thinking of a different thing. What was the spin-off show from the Cosby Show?
I don't
where
know.
The daughter and she went to college. I used to watch that. Only for like a season, and then they got rid of her and they got some other girl in.
No, it was 5. Let's see, 5 seasons. Who's the cast? I'm gonna look this up now. Living Single.
I don't know. It's not that.
No. This definitely was. Yeah, but it's Queen Latifah, Kim Fields.
I'm not a big Queen. I like Queen Latifah. I just don't like her shows, like The Equalizer.
I don't watch that.
Seriously,
I don't watch that.
How has that got a second season?
I have
Queen
no
Latifah.
idea.
You know who The Equalizer is? Denzel Washington.
The Denzel.
Denzel. Not Denzel. It's Denzel.
The Denzel.
It's Denzel. It's pronounced, he pronounces his name Denzel, not Denzel. I see you squinting. You're trying to do the math.
I'm trying to think.
Am I lying?
You are lying.
No, I'm not.
I'm not.
Because I just saw him say it in an interview.
I gotta look.
He said,
I'll find it.
Is it Denzel? And he goes, it's Denzel. I was like, it is? It shouldn't be.
Was he just?
No.
I gotta look.
No,
I'll find out.
He's sincere.
All right.
Okay.
And Married with Children.
I did watch Married with Children.
That's what we were watching in our house.
I watched Married with Children. Mm-hmm. But when I was little, we watched Three's Company, which is not appropriate for little kids.
Nope.
I grew up on that. And then All in the Family, or Archie Bunker.
Yep.
All that stuff. Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah, that's what I did.
Yeah, very diverse.
Yeah. Well, there's lots of the diversity, lots of shades of white is what I grew up with. Many shades of white in the shows that I watch. But I did watch What's Happening. And I did watch. Oh, you know what I watched?
I love that you're trying to like.
Because I liked it.
I know, but I love that you're trying to be like, no, guys, I'm diverse too.
No, I'm not
Here's
diverse.
some of the shows I watched.
But I liked What's Happening, and I liked what's that one? Moving on up. What's that one? What's that?
Wait, what?
That one. You know what I used to watch all the time? Sanford and Son. I watched
Sanford. Hold on, I'm getting. Oh, what is the name of that
with
show?
Wheezy. Yeah, in the apartment.
In the sky.
Yeah. That's the one.
I'm trying to remember the.
But what's funny, if you look back on the shows that I watched, you can see why I turned out the way that I am. Because I watched Sanford and Son. You big dummy. I watched Sanford and Son.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched like Archie Bunker, All in the Family.
Yep.
The only Muppets I liked were the two old guys.
Yep.
I only liked Oscar the Grouch.
Yep.
Like you could see throughout my life the kinds of things. I watched Elvira, Mistress of the Dark.
Yep.
Like you can see how I kind of wound up where I am.
Oh no, yeah. No, Michelle's done that where she'll sit down and watch like an episode with me, and she's
and she's like, this is why you are who you are.
This is like, I see why you say the things you say and expect the things you expect.
I was born in the dark. That's what
But it's been good.
All right, so are we going to talk about stuff? Because I know some people, there's going to be like 5% of our audience like they're just talking about nothing. And the rest of them are like, hey, this is fun.
Well, here's the best part. It's our podcast.
Yeah, we do what we want.
You want to talk about more? Let's talk more movies, more shows.
You still haven't seen the Batman. I want you to see the Batman.
I want to see the Batman.
It's actually really good.
I really want to see it.
It's really good.
And
it is long.
Yeah,
my son went and saw it at like 10:30 at night.
I'm sure he loved it.
Yeah, but he's like, so I kind of need to watch it again because I got kind of tired.
Oh,
you don't remember all of it?
He was tuckered out.
He might have been sleeping a little bit. But yeah, it's actually, I want to watch it again because I want to. I really liked it. Anyways.
All right, I'm excited for it. But all right, what do we talk about today before somebody else gets mad and turns us off?
All right, so we wanted to talk about, as you already know, because you're listening through your podcatcher, I want to talk about what it means to create culture in your ministry. Because and people that are in ministry, have been in ministry a long time, generally understand this idea that every ministry context has its own culture. Every church has its own culture, right?
But it's not just in the ministry context. Any organization has some sort of culture. Every company is going to have some sort of culture that's been created and cultivated.
Yeah.
Some of it's been good. Mm-hmm. Some of it needs to change.
Like at your company. Yeah. You were like that guy in Reservoir Dogs at the beginning of the movie. Your culture is, it's my way or the highway. That's your culture. That's probably the.
I stand by that.
When Mr. Pink starts to question you about why you're giving them all these certain names, you're like, it's my way or the highway.
That's it.
So we want to talk about the need to intentionally create the culture that you want in your church and why that's important. And I know some people are going to be like, first of all, I'm Reformed and we don't believe in creating culture.
Culture is bad.
We're just going to like do the Bible thing and we're just going to preach and we're going to teach and we're not going to worry about creating culture. Yeah, you are creating culture, intentionally or unintentionally. You are.
Yes.
So let's talk about that. What is culture, Jimmy? What if people want to try to explain it to people? What are we talking about when we say culture? Because it's a pretty big term.
Yeah, I mean, really, at the simplest way, it's that everything that characterizes like a group of people or a particular people, or group like we've been talking about in church or in any organization, that really encompasses beliefs, language, their customs, their values, their practices, art, food.
Right,
the ethos of
everything,
everything about it.
That that's right, because it's like every country, every city, every neighborhood, they have a culture, and it involves all that stuff. I like that you said art and food because like that's like the utensils that you use, like everything contributes to your culture. Everything.
I mean, I was spending time when Michelle and I went to Miami, right? We're at South Beach, and there's a whole culture there.
Yeah, there is foreign culture.
Joey,
what?
Joey,
that's what it is. I was there.
When?
I was in Miami Beach. Jen and I went to the beach.
I know.
One of us looked like we belonged, and then one of these things was not like the others. And that was me.
What's funny, in South Beach, I fit in pretty well.
Well, yeah.
But there was no...
Because you're all in living color, and I'm all Archie Bunker. That's what I'm saying.
Why are you... I was just saying, but that was distinct and different than when, even within Miami, going from South Beach to like...
Little Havana,
then going to Fort Lauderdale and even going a bit north there.
Yeah.
Right. Like you could see there's just different culture experiences.
Yeah.
Everything about it was different.
Some people talk about it like a vibe, and I get what you mean when you say that, but it's more than that. Like the vibe is kind of how it feels because every culture has a feel to it.
Yeah.
But that feeling comes from all of these elements that contribute to the whole. The culture is the way that we are. And the way that we exist in a particular context, right? So every regular gathering that meets on a continual basis, or every group, every city, right, where people are together for a particular period of time or whatever, develops a culture, a way of being.
Yeah, how it's worked out and lived in Portland, Oregon, is going to be different than Geneva, Illinois.
Yeah, black masks and Molotov cocktails is Portland. That's their culture.
Why?
Burning down City Hall. That's one of their values. And then
didn't you once say, I could see myself living in Portland?
I did.
I could see myself. No, It's my people.
No, I didn't say that.
We're so much the same.
Nope, didn't say that.
I can go there to Wellington.
Not what I said.
I can move right in.
Nope, I didn't say. No, I said well, I fit in is what I said. I said I fit in. When you look at me, I would fit in. Although you didn't say. By the way, you didn't say anything.
For what?
I don't even understand how I can do something so drastic and you don't even say a word.
What, about your beard?
Yeah, didn't even say a word. You didn't say a word. No, not even on Sunday. You didn't say anything about my beard. It's super trimmed, like I got a regular beard now. You didn't say a thing.
It looks nice.
But you didn't even acknowledge it.
All right, sorry.
Yeah, that's a part of our culture. You don't care. You don't care about the thing. Man, a woman in our church cannot change the highlights in her hair without me going, hey, did you change your hair? And they go, oh, thank you. Yes, I did. I'm like, yeah, I noticed that because I don't have hair, so I pay attention. Like, listen, you didn't even notice.
Listen, not all of us go to the gym and take their phones out and study people.
First of all, if I take my phone out, it's only to take a picture of my physique, okay? I do like to, like, pop my shirt off in Planet Fitness and start flexing in front of the mirror so I get the lunkhead alarm on the side of the... All right. So when we're talking about culture...
Yep.
It involves things like rhythms.
Okay, yeah.
Right? Like what are the normal things that happen on the regular and shared experiences. It's all of these things. And every church has its own culture, right? Every small group, every youth ministry, every children's ministry has its own culture, right? So you can see it, you can feel it, you can experience it.
So what are some of those elements then? Like, let's just say in the local church, like their Sunday gathering.
Okay, yeah.
What are some of those elements then that contribute to the culture that's being created there?
Okay, the annoying answer is every single thing that happens, right? But that's the truth.
But it's true. That's true. It's a true answer.
Every single thing that you do.
It's like when, you ask the question, hey, what's for dinner tonight? Oh, Joe, we're not even going to talk about this.
Okay,
ready?
Okay. Here you go. Who am I? Who are you?
I'm going to be you.
Okay, you're going to be you. So I'm going to be my wife?
You're going to be Jen.
Okay, here, I'm at the stove. My back is to you, and I'm stirring a pot.
All right, you ready?
Here I go. I'm stirring a pot right now.
Hey, what's for dinner?
No, that's not what I would ask.
Oh, what's for dinner tonight?
No.
Hey, babe, what's for dinner? I don't know.
You would ask me what I'm making.
You'll say that?
Yeah.
You'll ask, what are you making?
Yeah, and then she would say dinner.
See, for the show, I'll go, hey, what's for dinner tonight? And she'll say, food.
Well, that's just rude. I think at that point, that's the difference between your wife and my wife.
Oh,
she's trying to provoke you by saying food because she knows that that's not the answer that you want. I asked my wife.
You're telling me, hold on though.
Yeah.
You're telling me your wife's not doing the same?
No.
What are you making? What time are you asking this question?
I don't know, 5 o'clock.
Okay, so 5 o'clock.
Yeah. What are you making?
What are you making?
Yeah.
And dinner is you think is not a provoking question?
Oh,
or
no.
Response?
I don't think she's trying to provoke me. I just don't think she cares to answer the question specifically.
Well, joke's on you. I think Michelle's the same.
Okay.
She does not care.
Here's the point. Our wives are triggering us with these non-answer answers. We know you're making food. We know you're making dinner. We're curious. What are we about to enjoy that we are sure is going to be delectable? I'm just curious.
It's like, I don't do that. No,
of course not.
When I'm making dinner?
No.
Hey, what are we having tonight? Let me lay it out for you, girl.
Okay. You wouldn't even do this. Okay, what are you making for dinner? Chicken. You wouldn't do that either.
What do you do that?
No. It'd be chicken a l'orange or something. It would
chicken,
be like,
chicken cacciatore. That's what we're having tonight.
Oh.
Yeah, see?
Love me some chicken.
Yeah, we're going to have some chicken cordon bleu. Nah, it's good. It's good.
Nah, chicken cacciatore. I'll go with chicken cacciatore.
Nah, that's good. You want some chicken parmesan? Let's go with that. Nah, man, it's good.
Okay.
Good.
All right. So, so on Sunday morning, everything that you do, and this is something that we were really careful about when we were planting Redeemer, because we really did recognize that everything that we are going to do in that service contributes to the culture and what we're ultimately going to be and be about. So it's the style of music, it's the kind of preaching, it's the way in which you observe the Lord's Supper. It's not just what you're doing, it's how you're doing it.
Yeah, I mean, it even comes into like, how are you welcoming newcomers?
Totally, right? Yes.
Because how you greet one another is important.
It's a biblical thing.
It's a biblical thing, and how you do it is creating a culture within the church. If it's just more passive, then people get missed through the cracks.
They can, right?
They can, but if you're intentional about it and you're creating a culture of intentionality, then your people are naturally going to be greeting people they don't necessarily know.
And even then, you got to think about so we're going to be intentional. Like one of the intentional ways of greeting people in some more liturgical churches is what they call the passing of the peace. Do you know what the passing of the peace is?
Yes, I do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's the worst thing ever.
That's how I got to know my future wife.
Okay, yeah, so you used a bad thing to lead to a good thing.
Yep.
That's right.
Oh, I made sure to sit by her.
You turned the frown upside down.
I made sure to sit in front or behind.
Yeah. And then she'd be like, why is this guy with the big hair and the awful goatee sitting in front of me?
It was an awful goatee. I will give you that.
That goatee, dude.
It
was an on-point goatee in the 90s.
But I was doing it in the aughts.
I know. You're a little late. And then you figured out, like, oh, the beard looks really good on that. I can go an epic beard. Yeah, so the passing of the people. Like, you got to think about that. Like, we intentionally said we're not going to say, turn around and greet your neighbors. Because in our experience, in this particular culture, the vast majority of people hate that. Now, you can grow to appreciate it. It can become a part of your thing, and that's fine. If that's in your liturgical service, that's fine. It's not wrong. But, like, we chose, like, we're not going to do that, but we are going to intentionally talk to our people on the regular how to greet people. So we have people that are volunteering to do it. But we also have our people regularly doing it. All that stuff matters, man. I think that's, What about in youth ministry? What about, what are some things that come into play when, just like big picture stuff? Like we were talking about it, and how long you preach and the style of all that stuff. So in youth ministry, what are some basics?
Well, I think we often think about like the teaching aspects of what's going to go on in youth ministry, right? What are the doctrinal components? And we only kind of focus on those aspects to build the culture. Mm-hmm. But in my experience, like we neglect intentionally building the rest of the culture. So what happens? So like when you don't deal with that, then the culture kind of develops itself. Yeah. And it can be a bad culture. So like when I think of youth ministry, when you're only focusing on the teaching, well, how do you, especially in youth, and maybe I'm sure it's more, this is a very general statement, but I've experienced it more in youth. If you don't create a culture of hospitality, it's easy for the kids that know each other to only hang out with each other and form a bit of a clique. Right?
That's good.
You know what I mean?
That's good, yeah.
And so you want to create a culture that is more hospitable. Like, what's the fun that's happening? What's the rhythm of the evening?
Inclusion,
right? So how is it that a new kid that comes in feels like an insider right off the bat?
It's a beautiful thing, and you'll see it in youth groups, or you'll see it on the playground sometimes, where there's a kid on his own, and these other kids will go over and say, hey, do you want to play with us? Yeah. And then they beat him up behind the slide.
What?
No. Like that was my experience.
Our childhoods were very different.
I was a smart mouth little dirty kid that got beat up a lot. I just saw TikTok. This mom, and she's married. She's got a husband, good husband. Everything's good. But she was at the beach, I think, with her son. It was just her and her son, a little tiny kid. And this dad and his other two boys were out there playing, and they saw this little kid by himself, and they said, hey, do you want to come and play with it? We're going to build a sandcastle or whatever it was. And she was so thankful. Like, wow, that was so nice. There was nothing flirty or weird. It was just a neighborly thing to do. Kids, including another kid, they all played together, and it was great. I think that's a really good point. Like, and this is the kind of stuff that we're talking about. It's like, that's a part of your culture. Your youth group is going to have a culture. Your small group is going to have a culture to it that's going to have a certain vibe, a certain feel, and it's going to all stem from the shared values, beliefs, all of that stuff, right? The models that you're setting. It's important. So why do you think it is that some, especially in maybe our circles that are a bit more theologically oriented, why do you think some of them are not seeing the need to create culture in their ministry contexts? Why? Because like when you go outside of our circles and you look at some, like I remember one guy, Erwin McManus, I think was his name, pastored a church called Mosaic. Maybe he still does. I don't know. But he was popular for a while in the aughts, I think, and wrote a lot of books. And he was like the preaching pastor, but his title was cultural architect. And we all made fun of it because it was so cheesy. We're like, oh, you're the cultural architect. But he was actually, okay, so, and I will still make fun of that because it's cheesy. But I actually like the idea that he's aware, like, no, we are creating a culture here. And that's an important thing. Why do you think people in our tribes tend to miss the importance of this?
Well, I think oftentimes at the simplest level, right? Like we think that we're not called to create a culture, but to preach the gospel.
Right.
So we don't need to think about this. We just need to preach the gospel, and the rest will sort itself out.
Yeah, I'm going to make disciples.
That's it.
I'm going to preach the whole counsel of God.
And fall in line.
Yeah,
you should like you should be, like we just want to be, leading people into the faith,
not out of it.
Of course not. Yeah.
So it's like I remember seeing some people when I talked about assimilation, it was online, and this guy was like, and this was actually back in the day of the Pyromaniacs blog. So if you guys were back online back then, Phil Johnson, all these guys, Frank Turk, all these guys, I remember they were like making fun of churches that talked about assimilation. And they were like, you just need to preach the gospel and just be godly. And I remember we were trying to explain, like, no, listen, assimilation is about that. It's how do you practically, intentionally move people through the process of walking into your church and then engaging, hearing, maybe believing if they haven't believed before, joining, becoming a member, serving, like what's the actual nuts and bolts process for people? Because if they don't know what the process is, and if you don't have a process that's pretty clear in place, like it's confusing for people, and a lot of people just like, oh, I'm out of here. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. I don't know what's happening. So yeah, I think you're right. And then some people just haven't thought about it. Like it's just, it's never really been brought to their attention. So working on the culture of your church or your ministry means essentially, I think, analyzing what you're doing, how you're doing what you're doing, and why you're doing what you're doing, right? So you have to look at everything that you're doing. When you're looking at your worship service, your small group, your youth group, your kids ministry, whatever it is, what are the things that you are doing? And are there some things that you shouldn't be doing? Are there some things that you should be doing that you're not? Like you have to evaluate all of that. And the way that you do that is by understanding, like, well, why? Like, what's the purpose of it? I know that's something that you talk about, is like, why is this included in our worship service? Like and just because you have a good answer to the why doesn't even mean that it's a good answer to the question, right? Like I know of a church, it's no longer in existence, but I remember, and I'm sure some churches can pull this off, but I knew of a church, they would have a in their worship service, they would sing some songs, and then they would break for coffee. And they would go to tables and they would have coffee and sit down, and then they would come back for a message. It was an odd setup. I don't remember exactly how it was, but I know, like, for me, like, that doesn't make much sense. And that's because I'm a pastor in a particular context, but as a person, that seems disjointed to me. So, and again,
it felt like you were like to me, it feels like it's breaking the flow of the liturgy.
Yeah. It's like, it's this intermission, or is it, and in their minds, perhaps it was meant to be a part of it. And maybe there's a way to do that, but I don't get it.
It's like, get up and stretch before the message.
So you're looking at what you're doing, but you're also looking at how you're doing it. So, like, okay, we're going to sing these songs. So when you look at how you're doing it, you're beginning to look at, like, well, what songs are we singing? How long are we singing? Not only what songs, but are we amplified? How are we amplified? Like, what are we doing with sound? How are we going to use hymnals? Are we going to use a projection? Like, all of these things actually contribute to the culture. They do matter. Everything matters.
Yeah. Well, listen, chairs or pews, that matters. That matters.
It mattered for us because we had these. First of all, I like pews. I
love pews.
I will go pews all day long, as long as they're not
pew pew
pew pew. I like pews as well. But anyways, but like, as long as they're like, they look good. Like, I love pews. But in our small sanctuary, people don't like to jam in and get hip to hip. That's uncomfortable. Yeah. Hip to hip, touching hip to hip. It's kind of intimate.
Yeah.
Like, you and I sometimes on flights, we've had to sit hip to hip. One time, you were hip to me and then hip to another small Asian woman on a plane. That was pretty great. We should put that video up.
Nah, I think
that's a good one.
I feel like everyone was blessed.
Oh, man. That was good.
That was a blessing for everybody.
So what we did was we pulled out the pews and we put in chairs, because then everybody has a designated seat and we could seat more people in our small sanctuary. So, like, everything matters. So what we're looking at, right, when we start talking about, like, engaging in your particular ministry context, the issues are, like, what are our beliefs that are shared, that are upfront? These are the things that make us who we are.
Yeah. What are our values? What are those core things that we stick to as a people together?
Right. So, like, when you were talking about youth ministry, like hospitality, or even in corporate worship, like hospitality, inclusiveness, that kind of a thing. So, like, leadership, like, what are the roles of leaders and how do they present themselves? How are they identified? That sort of a thing actually matters.
Yeah, what are those natural rhythms that we go through as a group, right?
Yeah.
The natural ebb and flow of our, I mean, for me, I look at it like not just the evening or the liturgy or but even like for the year itself.
Right.
I always think of that like in my context. Well, in youth ministry, I always think through what is the rhythm for the year.
Yeah, and people begin to anticipate. Right. Oh, okay. This is what's happening, or this is a.
But see, not just, and this I think even comes with what are the customs of your group, but what is like the custom and rhythm of the community that you're in.
Yeah.
Because, like, I mean, in at least my prior experience has been like, what was going on in the community was also important to incorporate what is the rhythm for the church, because the church was involved in what was happening in the community.
Yeah, because you really wanted your ministry to be a reflection of the world, is what you're saying. You really wanted to like pattern your ministry after.
Because we were in the world, just not of the world.
Oh,
yeah. And so we would then engage and be a part of Salmon Fest, things like the Salmon Festival and things like that. But even just what's going on in your community and how does that then impact?
One of the things that I've always wanted our church to be a part of.
Oh, here we go. Salmon Fest?
Well, first of all, gross. No.
Dude,
okay.
They used to do Jesus Festival.
Okay. Well, that would be weird.
Oh, yeah. It was a parade.
Of Jesus? Of multiple Jesus.
The churches had put out a parade together. This is before my time. The churches would have a parade together, and they'd all do like a float or something, and they'd go down. They'd go down the road together.
Yeah.
And people would line up and they'd hand out candy and stuff.
Okay. What was on the floats, though?
Just them.
Oh, okay. Not representations of Jesus.
No.
Oh, okay.
Like them and like, here's my church. We love you. My church.
Okay, I thought it would be like everybody has their own version of Jesus.
No.
All right. Yeah. Canadian Jesus. African Jesus. There's like all kinds of
Eskimo
Jesus. Yeah, there'd be all kinds. We have something here that's like long-standing tradition called Scarecrow Fest.
Oh yeah, Scarecrow Fest. Yep.
And so a lot of companies and local organizations, they'll people set up food booths and everything here in St. Charles, but they create their own scarecrow, and the more creative you can win prize or whatever. But I always thought like, man, we have some creatives who could make really sick scarecrows. Like, let my daughter in on that, by the way. Yeah, because she'll have like blood coming out of its eyes and all kinds of. But I was like, it's a cool opportunity. Like that's something to consider as well. Like you're talking about is like, hey, you have the culture of your church internally, but then what's the presence of your church in the broader culture, and what are those rhythms that you can actually connect to preach the gospel or to love your neighbor?
But and then even how it affects, because I mean, again, I'm thinking in the youth ministry context, right? Like, how does homecoming affect? Right? How could you be a blessing to the community in the midst of homecoming or whatever events? Prom. I'm trying to think.
I didn't do anything in high school, so I don't have any.
No, I'm trying to think what they called it in
What
Canada.
do they do in high school?
For what?
Prom? I know prom.
Dude, I went to Marmy and we had Salute to Youth.
Oh, geez, that's right. You guys, your prom date was like your staff sergeant? Like what? How did that work?
No, we didn't have prom. No. It was Salute to Youth, and everyone had to dress up in full, like their full uniform, and they rented a. No, please don't.
I will get some pictures.
They had a place downtown, a hotel, fancy. It was everything, dressed to the nines. The ladies, I felt bad for the girl, like for the young women.
Where are these girls coming from?
Dates of the
so there wasn't like a partner school or something. It was
we had a sister school called Rosary, but maybe you took someone from Rosary, or maybe you took someone else.
Probably not. I know Rosary. Yeah.
But but these poor young ladies. Essentially, they were buying like a mini like wedding dress.
Oh yeah, no, it's really rough for the girls. Any of these big dances, they spend a lot of money on those dresses.
No, but for this Salute to Youth, it was like Patrick Kane and Jonathan Taves.
How am I supposed to know those names?
Blackhawks players, like they would have celebrities that be,
but not real celebrities. Like Blackhawks players, not real celebrities.
Okay, this is after this. They won.
Fine. I don't know who these people are. They're not real celebrities.
Athletes and celebrities would come in
all right.
and be part of
pseudo-celebrities. C-list. That's fine. C-list celebrities. That's fine.
Would you call George W. Bush a C-list celebrity?
No, but I would call him a C- student at Harvard.
Yeah, but he didn't go.
I don't know where he went.
He didn't go. Kidding. He didn't go.
No, I think all that's good. So let's wrap it up with this. Let's say like what are some examples? Like if we're going to talk about like if you're going to look at a small group or youth ministry. Just to be practical here.
Yeah.
So like in a small group ministry, what are some of the cultural? Because okay, let's say we're going to read the Bible.
Yep.
We're going to talk about the Bible.
We're
going to pray. We're going to eat some food, maybe.
But even that, though, even that itself is what could be created within the culture.
No, all of that matters.
Oh, sorry. Because I think the non-negotiables are we're going to study and pray.
Right. But what I'm saying is how you do those things.
Oh, how you do it. Yes.
So like
yes.
what are the cultural, what are some things that we need to think about when we're saying, okay, maybe we're going to discuss the Word of God. What are some issues related to the how you do that and why you do that?
Okay, what are you gonna do with the kids?
There you
go.
So
as you, how where are the kids gonna go? If the kids are too young, what rotation then for childcare? Is it going to be volunteers from your group, or are you going to bring in a sitter to come and be a part of that? Right.
Right.
Are you going to be seated around a table? Or in the living room, or some other.
People think it doesn't matter. All that stuff matters.
All that stuff matters.
And then, do you have something for the kids? Are you gonna bring them in and then talk to them?
Do you have them be a part of it first? Have a separate kind of teaching time for them. Then the adults go, and then for us, bringing the kids back together afterwards for prayer. After we kind of go through the more sensitive items. At least in the past, have we done it?
Yeah.
We go through the sensitive items first, and then bring the kids in for prayer together.
When you have people there, you're taking prayer requests. Say you might need to communicate to them. Hey, listen, you don't have to share anything. You're new here, but if you want to share, great. And then if they share, do you mind if we add this to our prayer list? Because we send out our prayer list to the people in this group and only in this group. That doesn't go back up the chain to the pastors to report on anybody. So communication, like how you communicate, is really good. But let's talk about youth ministry.
Okay.
Because we're talking about youth ministry a lot at Redeemer. We just had an elders meeting. We're talking about youth ministry. When we're talking about the culture of a youth ministry, what are maybe one or two things? Because I have no background in youth ministry. When I was converted, I was already out of high school. I would go to a couple of youth groups every once in a while. Maybe for the first year, I went to quite a few. And so I only know what I experienced, but I've never been a leader. So when you're thinking about cultural implications and issues in youth ministry, assuming that yes, the ministry of the word is priority, godliness, all that stuff. But what are some cultural issues that people need to take into consideration when you're trying to build a healthy culture for your youth group?
I think one of the things is leadership development. So how you train your leaders, your volunteer leaders, is really going to help a lot with the culture in regards to inclusivity, how people feel welcomed and part of it. If you don't create a culture where your leaders are on the lookout for kids that are on the sidelines.
Right. Oh yeah.
That's really key, because kids naturally are going to feel shy.
Yeah.
Kids naturally are going to feel like, I don't want to look foolish,
or I don't belong here,
or I don't belong here.
Yeah, I'm new.
So leaders being trained, creating a culture where they're trained to be on the lookout, but then also creating a culture where your leaders and the leader is willing to be a part of the game. That's huge.
Explain what you mean.
So oftentimes, and all right, I'm going to use First Nations as an example here. So when I lived in Canada, one of the things I really had to, I worked a lot with First Nation teens. So for First Nation teens, and I do think this translates a lot to a lot of teens, you're going to find some kids are willing to make a fool of themselves in front of the group.
Yep.
They're fine. The vast majority is not.
I was one that would never want to do that.
So with First Nation teens, if they're alone, there's this culture of shame there. If they're alone doing it, they will not do it. But if they're there with a leader or with another person, then it feels like I can do this and make look foolish. And they're not there's a much more willingness to participate.
Yeah.
So leaders then you need leaders that are willing to make a fool of themselves more so than any other kid. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I get it. Well, because it breaks down a lot of walls, and that makes, because I just know, because of how I was, and I've my friends have always been in my youth, people on the outskirts, right? We were kind of never popular or whatever. And then in youth group, when I did go as even though I was out of high school, I would go to these youth events. in these youth groups, because there wasn't really anything else for me to do. I would go, and a lot of these pastors would find me or find others who seemed to be different on the outs, and they would make us feel very much a part of it.
Yeah.
It's the best version of safe spaces, right? Like, 'cause like safe spaces have become a stupid thing in a lot of ways. But really, you're creating a culture where like, you're okay here.
You're okay here.
Yeah.
We're all
fine.
in this together.
Yeah.
Not only are the teens in this, but the leaders are in this. We're there with you.
I don't know if this is relates at all, but when I was at Moody, our president was Joseph Stoll.
Yep.
Now, Joseph Stoll was a godly man, is a great guy. He was a perfect Bible school head entity, right? Not just because he was like a good-looking, well-put-together guy. He was funny. He was charismatic. He could preach. He was just great. He was a good guy. Mm-hmm. Everybody liked him. Nobody had a problem with him. And he would sometimes come into the student dining room and just like hang out and talk to people. And I remember this guy walked up to him with his buddies. They're all taking pictures. And they said, "Hey, would you put on this long wig? Would you put on this wig, a long black metal hair, you know?" And this is the guy that's put together. He's got his hair parted, the whole thing. Yep. He put that thing on, no problem. Yep. And I was like, it made everybody go, he doesn't care about the stupid stuff. Like he is willing to have fun in the midst of all the stupid stuff that we do. Like he wasn't too uptight, you know, and I just,
and there's a reason why. So, you know, I did youth ministry, I did youth ministry, but I did church youth ministry, but I also started off in Young Life.
Parachurch. Yeah.
Parachurch in Young Life. And there's a reason everything is very intentional on what they do. It has been thought out. Down to there's a reason why it's not a teen that's leading the music, it's a leader. So that the leader is one of the volunteer leaders is the one that's animated, excited, drawing kids in. It's very repetitive. There's movements. There's even within like groups during a song, they'll have their own special like extra phrase or stanza or something like that. That when they go to camp, they do it and it sticks out with everybody. But there's a reason why they go, their rhythm for the evening goes from singing to like a leader skit and then to some sort of participation game. It's the leaders themselves that are setting the tone and the pace so that the kids feel more comfortable engaging in the game.
Yeah.
And then from there, transitioning to message, right? Everything is very well thought out to create a culture where kids know this is a place where I can ask questions.
Yeah, I'm not going to look stupid.
I'm not going to look dumb here. It's like the embodiment of there is no dumb questions. Does that make sense?
No, yeah, no. I that's what we're talking about, right? It's just like the culture of your church, small group, youth group, it actually matters, and it exists. So we've got to be intentional about building it. Like we don't have all the answers, but hey, you know what? One time I took my buddy to the youth group. Again, I'm out of high school, but I went to this youth group thing, and I was like, I want to come and hang out. And he was like, all right, cool, man. And he was like a rocker, long hair, the whole thing. And he was like, we don't have to take off our shoes or anything, do we? And I'm like, no. What are you talking about? We've never taken off our. Why would you ask that? He's like, I just don't want to take off my boots. He had the metal boots on. I'm like, no, what are you talking about? So we get there, and the first thing they do is, everybody take off your shoes, throw them in the middle. And he had these bright pink socks on, which might not be a big deal today, but for an 80s rocker, he was humiliated. Yeah.
You know,
I blew it.
So I had one teen that had never been to church.
Yeah.
And he was like, man, I'm like, come on, dude, come to church with me. It'd be great. You know, I'm like, come with me. It'll be fun. I'll pick you up. We'll go out for dinner or we'll go out for lunch after. Yeah. It'll be fun. And he's like, well, I'm only going to go if they've got pie. And I go, Casta, they don't have pie. He's like, no, I'm only going to go if they have pie. And I go, all right, man, they have pie. We're going to go. They're going to have pie. Totally lied to him. Shows up. Sure enough, there was pie that day.
At church?
At church.
Your church served pie. What kind of pie?
I can't remember. I don't know. I was just so...
I would go there.
You know? Yeah, it was good.
I would go there.
It was good.
Well, if people want to get like some awesome pie recipes or talk to us about this stuff, where do they go?
Well, they can follow us online on Instagram, Twitter, at Doc and Devor on Facebook /Dr. Devotion. They can head to the website, drdevotion.com. There they can contact us. They can sign up for the email blast at the store, jofostore.com, and grab some gear. We got that fresh pot every Monday and Thursday. We got blog posts and video content over at the website. And we've got that all-access exclusive content, Banter Truth on Tuesdays, Weekday Wisdom Monday through Friday. Head on over to drdevotion.com /all-access to register today. Later.